Morning, or good night. It's good morning here. So we're talking about Solomon, and Solomon's become king. David is dead. Solomon's the king, and one of the very first things Solomon does is he goes before the Lord and he makes some sacrifices. And he makes 1,000. The king went to Gibeon to offer sacrifices. Solomon offered 1,000 burnt offerings on that altar. So, what an offering was is they would take an animal, they would kill it, and they would burn it. Usually just the insides, and eat the rest. I don't know if this was that they burnt the whole thing. Sometimes they would burn the whole animal. But basically this was costing a great, humongous amount of money for Solomon to do this, because they're not going to have the animal anymore. The animal can't make more animals. So it's like kind of like a huge offering. And I remember a story when Grandma and Grandpa, one time when Grandma got, they were really needing Grandma to get a good job, and she finally got the job they needed, and they needed the money really bad. And the very first thing they did when they got the first paycheck is they gave the whole paycheck to the Lord, just kind of just as an offering, a faith offering, saying, Lord, we believe you. We trust that you're going to take care of us, and at the very beginning of this new venture in our life, we're going to give it all of it, the first of it, to you. And Dad did this. I did the same thing when I started DFW Property Preservation. The very first check I got from Field Assets, I gave it all to the Lord, trusting that He was going to take care of our business. So this is what Solomon does. He goes and he takes, and the very, very first thing he does as king is he makes a bunch of sacrifices. All right, and this gets God's attention. And in the middle of the night, in a dream Solomon has, the Lord comes to him and he says, "Ask whatever you want me to give you." So it's like a blank check. Adults would say, like, I handed you a blank check and you can write any amount in it. Or you might think of like the movie Aladdin, where genie in a bottle, you can have any wish you want. So it's something you need to think through. What do you think you would wish for? God came to you and said, ask for whatever you want me to give you. What do you think you'd ask for? King Solomon was a very young king. He was pretty smart already to start with, because he asked for something really, really smart. He said, I am only a little child. He was an adult, but he was a young adult. And I do not know how to carry out my duties, because your people are very numerous and great. So give your servant a discerning heart. I want y'all to remember that for the rest of your life. A discerning heart is what we all really, all of us need that. Lots of times in our lives, that we would be able to discern right from wrong, lies from truth. Someone is trying to manipulate, or they're being truthful. Situation needs to be abandoned or just worked on harder. Time to leave your job, time to stay, time to get married, to discern whether or not this is the right person. Man, life is full of things that we need a discerning heart, a heart that understands what the best way to go is. So this is what Samuel prays Samuel prays for. Solomon. I knew Samuel was wrong. Solomon prays for a discerning heart. Okay? And the Lord was pleased with Solomon. So God said to him, since you have asked for this, and not for long life, or for wealth, or for the death of all of your enemies, but a discerning heart in administrating justice, I will do what you have asked. I will give you a wisdom, a wise and discerning heart, so that you will never have, so that so that there will never have been anyone like you, nor will there ever be. Basically, a fancy way of saying you're gonna be so smart. You'll be smarter than anybody that's ever lived before you, and anybody that'll ever live after you. That's how awesome I'm going to give you of a discerning heart. I will also give you what you have not asked for, both riches and honor. And as we talk about Solomon, we'll see later in his life that he really did get stinking, filthy rich, and he was honored among everybody. He's remembered today. In non-Christian circles, people talk about Solomon. Okay, so first test, Solomon's king, and there's these two ladies, and they live together, and they both have babies within 3 days of one another. And one of them, in the middle of the night, rolls on top of her baby and kills it. So she tiptoes over to the other lady's baby and swaps them, and puts the other lady's baby close to her. And in the morning, when they wake up to feed the babies, the one mom is like, no, my baby's dead. And her baby's dead, and she's like, wait. This doesn't look like my baby. She goes over and looks at the other lady's baby. She goes, that's my baby! That's my baby! And they're totally arguing back and forth. No, this is my baby. Your baby's dead. No, your baby's dead. This is my baby. Back and forth. So they go to King Solomon. And they tell him the whole story. Right? And the other woman said, let's see. The next morning The other woman said, no, the living one is my son, and the dead one is yours. But the first one insisted, no, the dead one is yours, and the living one is mine. So the women argued before the king. They went before the king, and they told him the story, and they're just sitting there arguing, okay? So, really good time for for Solomon, to have a discerning heart. He had to know the truth. And they both were upset. And no normal person could have been able to tell who was telling the truth, who was telling the lie. He needed a discerning heart. That's what he asked for. The Lord had given it to him. So we're going to see how that plays out. So the king said, this one says, my son is alive and your son is dead, while the other one says, no, your son is dead and mine is alive. The king said, bring me a sword. So they brought a sword to the king. He then gave an order. Cut the living child in two and give half to one and half to the other. The woman whose son was alive, you see it coming, was filled with compassion for her son and said to the king, no, please, my lord, give her the living baby. Don't kill him. But the other said, neither I nor you shall have him. Cut him in half. And the king gave the ruling. Could you tell who the real mommy is? Yeah, I can tell. Can you tell? Then the king gave the ruling. Give the living baby to the first woman. Do not kill him. She is his mother. When all of Israel heard the verdict the king had given, they were in awe because they saw that he had wisdom from the Lord to administer justice. So wisdom. And later we'll read from Proverbs, I'm sure, eventually, about wisdom. And that's everything. If you can get smart, if you can have brains, you can do any job, you can be anything. It's just so important to do good in your schoolwork and keep your mind straight. Don't do drugs. This is important. Don't fill your mind with things that Satan would want to. He wants to have part of your brain or all of your brain, but he'll take part of it and he'll just he'll take over and take your brain away from you so that you can't think about the things of the Lord. All you'll dwell on are the things that aren't good. So it's important to keep our brains. It's important to try to be wise and to use our heads. Love you guys. Have a good night.